Hello everyone and welcome to Wargame Red Dragon. Today we have something a little bit different. My friend Lowing and I are trying out something we've called Take My Town. So the idea is basically we take turns defending and attacking different zones with set pre-agreed upon numbers of points in a bidding type system. So for this particular one I'm playing as Blue Dragons and I bid, I believe, 500 points against my friend Lowing's 800. So he's attempting to take this zone with 800 points. I'm attempting to defend it with 500. As far as the actual defenses go, we have lots of Yebagun. These are mostly just tripwires, but hey, they can do pretty good work when backed up by enough K200s and fire support, especially against only 800 points of attacking units. We also have Gongbyung, who are the napalm launcher infantry for South Korea. Now, these guys are special in that they fire 3 times before reloading, so the actual rate of fire when engaged is really quite quick. It can be quite devastating against opponents' infantry, regardless of, well, if they should beat these guys in a straight-up fight. In addition, we have a couple of cheaper fire support vehicles and tanks like the M48A5K, which is just basically a cheap, I'd say cavalry tank, but really it's not quick on its feet either, so not really good use there. And the thing is, I don't know at all which direction Lowing is going to attack from, so I have to be spread out relatively thoroughly. I have KFV-90s on the flanks, KM-900s on the flanks as well. I have Gongbyung spread out through these forests, K200s set up as tripwires. And then in the northern part here, I have a KM-132 napalm launcher vehicle, as well as an M18 fire support vehicle that are designed to shoot across this gap while Yebagun or something holds the line here, should that be the angle of approach. So we are just going to speed up a little bit until Lowing decides to attack. I think it should be pretty soon, if memory serves. It's a little bit difficult working off of these replays because, well, for some reason, the back arrow doesn't go back, it just sort of goes back to where you were. So we're actually going to speed things up a lot. Ah, yes, here it comes. So we have the first mortar barrage going in at K200s, previously identified, and one of them actually shot by Lowing as we were setting up, which I didn't quite appreciate so much, but you know, such is life. And we actually encounter Chasseurs 85. Now these guys, 15-point regular infantry, pretty good AT weapons. They are very valuable, and hey, yeah, those Yebagun almost made their worth up right there in a single shot off that super bazooka, taking out one of the AMX-10Ps, I believe, of one of the other infantry headed up this way. So Commandos Para are going to be able to chase them down. They're much faster than Yebagun, particularly when panicked and things like that. And we can see, you know, this is one particular push. I'm moving up an M18 across the way, trying to back up these K200s, and thinking to myself, well, this isn't going so great. One way to keep score, by the way, is just we started this destruction game at 0, so, well, if I lose, then Lowing's points will go up to around 500, and if I win, I should be killing around 800 points worth of stuff, maybe or maybe not, including the mortars that are off-map. So there was a little bit of contention about that. So I lose a couple units of Yebagun, and because of that infantry fighting in the forest not going well, I'm drawing the others back to this the edge of the tree line, the other K200s back to the edge of the tree line, and moving the M18 back across. Now, Blue Dragons have infamous problems with autonomy, so my M18 is nearly out of gas, and that is going to be a problem if I'm maneuvering too much more. And by too much more, I mean I got about 50 seconds of maneuverability out of this guy left, which is not very much at all. Of course, the maneuverability, well, okay, never mind. So we have the VAB coming in this way, and it starts to dawn on me, oh, well, he's going from more than one direction, which is not great. K200s, meanwhile, I should have moved them back. Legion are going to absolutely wreck them in a forest fight, so these guys are retreating, and I thought I'd asked them to go out into open ground. Yep, there it is, trying to get away from those Legion's anti-tank weapons so that they can use their own support weapons in that fight. Now, Gyeongbong are moving up, and they do actually have line of sight on the Legion, and we can see that devastating firepower going in, just melting those superior infantry. I mean, these guys are 20-point shock infantry, and Gyeongbong are just taking them apart. We have more mortars coming across, and actually a KM-132 just finishing that off there, which was pretty excellent as far as I was concerned. And we start to take a little bit of a points lead, which, remember, we need about a 3-2, if not slightly better, kill-to-death ratio here in order to make this worth it. So Gongbyung reloading, firing again, and the Chasseurs are now on the receiving end of it. But my own vehicles are starting to get blown through a little bit, and this line is looking like it's going to be a little bit more fragile. In terms of the rest of the zone, there's not much going on, and pretty soon I think I'm going to be moving stuff up, trying to double down on this one section. KM-132 really proving to be pretty nice, panicking, killing a lot of things there, so the infantry, oh no, those are more support vehicles. Everything that's out, oh, chasseurs, there they are. Everything that's out in that fire is going to be having a very, very bad day. Meanwhile, the M48's moving up and making use of that M2 Browning on his dome piece there. But this looks like a little bit of a stalemate, and then all of a sudden they get in to this town. Chasseurs are shooting at my KM-132 that can't shoot back, and Gungbung will not be able to, well, I didn't think they would anyway, be able to hold up to Chasseurs in a fight, although it looks more even than I had originally thought. The other cool thing is actually the Chasseurs over here and the Yebagun are fighting relatively evenly, which is kind of funny considering it's a double squad of militia against a single squad of regular infantry, but I mean, hey, volume of fire making up for training sounds about right. So at this point, Yebagun are moving back. I have the K200s trying to go up through the trees here, and let's see, no, yes, so Gungbung are moving away, Yebagun moving away. I'm starting to draw some resources from this side of the map. 100 points of kills for me, 90 points for Lowing, and things are looking rather dire. If he gets 1-to-1 kills, well, I'm kind of toast. And this is where this Tiger Hat comes into play. So he's moving up a little bit before he should. I have a Husam Mistral that is just on the edge of his range. So the Tiger Hat takes a first shot, doesn't actually look like that Lowing notices, which is kind of bad because my own response time was relatively poor here, but the Mistral should be moving up. I think I'd assumed he would retreat him, and yep, there's the Mistral moving up, down goes the Tiger Hat, and that is a gigantic points jump. It's also a really good tool that would have been useful at the end of this fight, denied to our opponents. However, M201s are moving down this side of the forest as my own vehicles have been cleared out now from the east side of Bravo, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to bring them closer and maybe get some work done on these M201s. So, I mean, we got a stun. I was actually kind of surprised with this. The M2 Browning and the M60 on top of those K200s able to really chew through the support vehicles. I guess they were only 5 strength, no armor, which I hadn't really expected. Mirage 5F comes in, but quickly taken down by Husam Mistrals. Let's see where those bombs are going, and it looks like a bit of a swing and a miss. I'm not really sure what happened there, but I didn't track the bombs, I was tracking the plane, so I lost some Gung in the infantry fight, and my Yebagun were very, very much injured by that bombing run. But things are turning in our favor now, about almost 2-to-1, not quite. Would be 2-to-1 if we killed the Chasseurs, though they would quickly die to Commandos Para. I'm also moving up M18s and K200s across here, but they're killed, of all things, by an ATGM team, which is just, oh, so annoying at the time. Now the secret weapon that I had for this defense for the end of it, which I made sure to keep until the later portion, is a K1. This is a 95-point tank, very, very nice. 17 frontal armor, 16 AP, 9 rounds per minute. The workhorse of the Blue Dragons coalition, and we're shooting at AMX-13 Illinois, which, I mean, left alone, those guys can shred infantry with that main gun, even though it is meant for anti-air uses. It's quite nasty against people as well. But KM900's opening up, the K1 providing supporting fire up this ridge, taking out a VAB, and I think shooting again. Let's see, yep, over on the left, so we're just looking at all these different spotted targets identified by the Susek. And here's where we get a little bit lucky, so there are ATGMs coming in from the AMX-10P Mulan, and now more mortars coming in from off the engagement range, I guess, but still technically allowed for at least the temporary rules of Take My Town as we're trying to figure out an informal game mode of sorts. But we can see now just weight of fire is slowly burning through these Commandos Para. The K1's able to take out support vehicles for the French, and, well, 515 points in kills versus 220. Things are starting to look very dire indeed for the attackers, with only, in theory, a little under 300 points left before defeat. So AMX-10 RC that was spotting on this side does have to get forced to move up, but the K1 is not going to like that very much. Mortars are coming in and making the K1 worried, but not nearly enough to save that poor French tank from death. In the meantime, we have Commandos Para easily taking out Yebagun, and we identify finally that ATGM team in those woods. Now the K1's moving up a little bit danger close here. This is where, I mean, if there were infantry left with good AT weapons, that could be pretty disastrous. As it is, I mean, kinetic weapons increase their AP power at close range, and we do spot some Commandos Para, which would very easily snack on that K1 if they were to get a side shot. So you see the K1 pause, and I'm considering now, okay, how do I handle these Commandos Para? I don't have that much killing power left on the board. The Husam Mistrals are nowhere near good enough for that, but the K1 in the woods would be just a little bit suicidal, so I'm bringing him back out. And Yebagon fighting off the last single man left in the Chasseurs in that town, actually kill stolen by the K1 there, so pretty funny in that regard. And the other Commandos Para just sort of moving up into the town. Lowing, I think, at this point is, well, maybe not accepting defeat, but certainly acknowledging that good faith attacker rules should be upheld. Gazelle 341F cannon coming in, but Canon, I guess. But Husam Mistral is not going to be having that for very long. And now we can see we're edging up past 710 points, which will be very quickly a win for the Blue Dragons Coalition, as the last of those Commandos Para are taken out. And let's see, there's the Commandos Para, there's the Milan team. At this point, doing the math, seeing those, I figured, including the mortars, there shouldn't be much, if anything, at all left, and I actually nearly get taken out by some Vabs that had infantry in them, so a little bit of miscounting on behalf of Lowing, going in with a couple more forces than were, in theory, supposed to be deployed, and I very nearly lose my K1 for it. I mean, once those Commandos Para are gone, that'll be 800. And yeah, so Defenders take it in this Take My Town match, and that's all we've got for today. So thank you all for hanging around. We'll be back with the next one where I'm attacking against Lowing's defense in the next episode. So see y'all real soon.